Well, he's back, or at least he's been reinstated on Twitter. Real Donald Trump, blue check mark and all, he is back on Twitter. But has he tweeted since being put back on there? Doesn't look like it. The last tweet from the former president on Twitter was January 8th, 2021, where he said, "To all those who've asked, I will not be going to the inauguration on January 20th. Before that, he tweeted out that 75 million great American patriots who voted for me, America first, and make America great again," and so on. So he hasn't tweeted yet. Should he tweet? I want to hear from you at 217-629-7970. That's the phone number here with Springfield's Morning News on 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk. Should former President Donald Trump actually tweet on Twitter now that he has been restored? This all happening, just a fascinating series of events. Over the weekend, Elon Musk, who purchased Twitter for $44 billion, he has previously posted polls asking questions of Twitter users on a variety of different things, even before he bought Twitter. But he posted a poll, it was late Friday, I believe, or sometime during the day Friday, a 24-hour poll where he asked, should President Trump be reinstated on Twitter, yes or no? And first hour, he got 1 million votes. Second hour, he got another 1 million votes. Fifth hour, he got another 1 million votes. Seventh hour, he got 2 more million votes. And it got all the way up to 15 million votes. I've never seen a poll conducted online reach that level. 15 million polls, 15 million people responding to this poll. And it came out with Trump finding 51.8% approval. And that ultimately led Musk to essentially say the people's voice, they rung out, and indeed Trump was reinstated on Twitter. But as you can see, he doesn't really have much by way of any new tweets. The president talking about his own Truth Social account, which he says is doing great. But should he get back on Twitter and actually start using Twitter now that he's been restored, alongside a whole bunch of other controversial figures that have been restored, including Jordan Peterson, Project Veritas, James O'Keefe, and a whole host of others, and the Babylon Bee being restored on Twitter. All right, let's get to the phones. Good morning. You're on WMA. Why should Trump use Twitter?
If he wants to use Twitter, he should be able to use Twitter. And I think one of the most pathetic things I've seen in my lifetime are people that are concerned that he's about to use Twitter. I think that the adults in the world have stopped adulting. It comes to the point where you don't need to protect others. You need to protect yourself. And the way to protect yourself isn't to censor people, it's to turn the thing off. If you're that bothered, turn it off. I cannot... The amount of censorship that's happened in the last few years, and I mean this,
it's staggering.
It is on par with burning books. Yeah. And historically, everyone that's burned books in history has been on the wrong side of history. And now we're at the point where it's not books, it's information, and people are too scared to get this information, so they don't want it out there. I can't express to you the things that we talked about 10 years ago, 15 years ago on your Saturday sessions that have all come true, and these things were sketchy back then to talk about. Yeah. And now they're borderline banned. I don't like what society's doing, and the adults, the people that are caring, you're all pathetic. You're all pathetic, and you need to hear this. Stop concerning yourself what Trump is saying and start concerning about how you're treating society banning things.
It's not healthy to just have blanket bans, as we've seen social media implement, especially in the past 2 years, on a variety of things, from alleged COVID misinformation to alleged voter outcome misinformation and so on. And I think that you're definitely laying it out there pretty thick that, we've got a serious reckoning here in this society. Are we going to be a society based on free exchange of ideas, or are we going to be a society that's based off of central control of what can actually be reported on? I appreciate the call. Got to take more. Good morning. You're on WMAY.
That last caller hit it right on the head, Greg. And basically, the prophecy is only halfway come true so far. You always see the memes that are, I miss low gas prices and mean tweets. So far, half of it's come true. Those mean tweets are going to be showing up.
Well, and hey, gas prices are going back down a little bit. I don't know if you've seen, but
they're getting there.
In Springfield, I think the average is about $3.70. So hey, all right.
Yeah, and I mean, Twitter is Twitter. It's if you want to, look at it, then you have that choice. It shouldn't be censored to be, only these certain people can have, Twitter accounts, or because they said something to hurt my feelings, we're going to take them off, And personally, I think Trump's had a, big enough time out to reflect on all the stuff that he's actually done on it that, he's going to come back.
It's been 22 months. It's been darn near 2 years since he was able to post something on Twitter. I mean, that's incredible that the Twitter had prohibited a then president, now former president, from going on the social network to post his ramblings, while they allow for Antifa members to call for violence on people. They allow for, leaders from despot countries to post, anti-Semitic things. But yet they go after, some of the Western media figures and trying to censor them.
The level of hypocrisy that has shown from Twitter prior to Elon Musk taking over is ridiculous.
It's pretty incredible times we live in. You can't not sit back and be like, what in the world is happening? But over the weekend, we saw a pendulum shift in former President Donald Trump, his Twitter account, Real Donald Trump, being reactivated. Now, Trump said that he doesn't anticipate getting back on there. We shall see. Should he? That's the question I have for you. Should Donald Trump utilize Twitter again? Good morning.
Good morning. I think he should, and I think eventually he might, if only to promote his own social platform. But my question is, are all of these crybaby blue check marks the same ones that are living in Canada right now because they moved after the 2016 election?
Yeah, and they're posting their disdain. They're posting their disdain for Twitter on Twitter, saying that they are going to quit Twitter while still being on Twitter. Right.
We're moving to Canada, and now they're going to get off Twitter. And I guarantee you, they all still live in this country. And if you check back in a few months, they're all going to be on Twitter still.
Probably so. Appreciate the call. 217-629-7970. Good morning. You're on WMAY.
Hello, GB.
What's
when
up,
Trump Social, as I call it, first came out, it was only available for Apple users, but I think they have turned it towards Android. But if they haven't, then I think he should be able to get his word out, Instagram, whatever social media he chooses to get his word out.
Yeah. Yeah, and listen, I mean, he's running for president again, right?
Yeah.
So not posting on Twitter could be a negative impact if he doesn't want to use that social media channel just because he's got his own Truth Social. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. So 217-629-7970 is the phone number. What do you think? Should Trump utilize Twitter now that he has had his accounts reactivated, and all of the, how many millions of people has he got following him? Let's see here. It's 87.4 million people following the former president's Twitter account. So should he use it to get the word out to 80 some odd million people? Good morning. You're on WMAY.
Yeah, I think any platform available to Trump to show us how stupid he is should be used by him.
Misspellings and cavopathy, or what was that?
Yeah, I mean, and his whole stuff that the election was stolen, all that makes him look silly. But, I got banned from Twitter.
What did you do?
They won't tell me. I keep trying to reapply, and I'm on the liberal side of things. So this idea that it's just conservative is not factual based.
Well, were you threatening people? What were you doing?
Oh no, I just say stuff like, I don't know. I don't remember.
It's probably best you don't reiterate it, whatever it was. Appreciate the call. 217-629-7970 is the phone number. Here's what President Donald Trump had to say before the outcome of the poll on Twitter. And he was speaking in front of a group of, the Jewish coalition, the Republican Jewish coalition that Trump was speaking in front of, addressing this very issue. Friday, I believe.
I've always liked him. I got along with him very well during my days as president, and I got to know him pretty well. But I do like him. I've always really, he's a character, and I tend to like characters. But he's smart. He did put up a poll, and I hear it's very overwhelming, very strong. But I have something called Trump. If you look, it's Trump-owned, but it's really fantastic. Truth Social. And Truth Social is through the roof. It's doing phenomenally well. The press hates to talk about it, but it's doing phenomenally well. I think engagement is much better than it is with Twitter. And it's taking care of voices that really want to be taken care of, and really smart voices, brilliant voices, voices that in many cases are both sides. But I can tell you there's a lot of voice for Israel, a lot of power for Israel in Truth Social. So Truth Social has been very, very powerful, very, very strong. And I'll be staying there. But I hear we're getting a big vote to also go back on Twitter. I don't see it because I don't see any reason for it. They have a lot of problems at Twitter. You see what's going on. It may make it. It may not make it. But the problems are incredible. The engagements are negative. And you have a lot of bots and you have a lot of fake accounts, which I think they should get on. But Truth Social has taken the place for a lot of people, and I don't see them going back onto Twitter.
But I don't see them being nearly as active and engaged as what Twitter has. So interesting to see all this, of course, over the weekend. And what's gonna drop next? Because as I said, Twitter reinstating several different controversial accounts, including the accounts of Project Veritas and James O'Keefe, the Babylon Bee, Jordan Peterson, and others. And Musk has made other proclamations that, you have freedom of speech, but not freedom of reach, which indicates kind of an admission of the continuation of shadow banning, where, you can post on it and you can find it and people can find specifically what you said, but it's not going to show up in feeds. And that's one of the big criticisms that people had of Twitter. But of course, you've also got the bots and so on. How all that's going to be managed, we shall see. But of course, appreciate everybody chiming in here on whether or not former President Donald Trump should utilize Twitter now that he's been reinstated after 22 months. That's incredible.